Welcome, seeker of quiet adventures. Would you like to trade your stress and weariness for a relaxing journey? Tonight, Edo awaits you, a city that one day will be known as Tokyo. You'll feel its quiet rhythm, taste its morning tea, and hear the stillness before history turns. But before you step into the shop, tap subscribe so we can meet again. And leave a comment. Your time, your place, your day, we're here, and we're listening. Settle in comfortably. Relax your body from your face to your feet. Breathe softly. The cozy shop appears before you, glowing with warmth.
The door opens with a long, slow creak of aged wood, the kind of sound that feels more remembered than heard. You step inside, and the air greets you like a warm exhale. Still, dry, and faintly sweet. Something between old paper, candle wax, and rain-drenched earth. It smells like stories, like time slowed down. You find yourself standing in a shop built into the side of a quiet mountain, hidden beneath vines and watched over by a brass owl. From the outside, it looked like a cozy two-story wooden lodge. Arched stained glass windows, glowing red, blue, and amber in the dark, golden light pouring from the open doors into the misty forest night. But inside, the space opens like breath held for centuries, vast, warm, and impossibly tall. Wooden shelves stretch up toward the vaulted ceiling, lost in shadows, 4 stories above. Lanterns hang like quiet stars between walkways and brass spiral staircases. The air is thick with golden light, streaming through stained glass and dancing in soft mist. Every corner hums with memory. The shelves are packed high, not with books, but with artifacts, glowing orbs, hourglasses that flow upward, fossilized feathers, delicate mechanical models, relics of long-forgotten empires, and tiny cities encased in glass. You wander slowly, the wooden floor creaking just slightly underfoot. On one shelf, a bronze compass with no magnetic pull, spinning slowly as though responding to something older than the Earth's poles. On another, a lacquered box labeled in kanji, sealed with red string, untouched for what feels like centuries. A feather from a dodo bird, a tarnished medallion from Napoleon's Egypt campaign, a sand glass that flows upward. You pause at a small plinth displaying a dark stone object the size of your palm, cool, smooth, and strangely warm to the touch. As your fingers close around it, a pulse of light emerges behind the counter, soft, golden, and round. It floats gently into view, a sphere, not too bright, but steady, like a sun trapped inside silk. Then, a voice, calm and resonant, fills the air as though it had been there all along, just waiting for you to notice.
The Heartstone of Pharaoh Neferibri. I only just spoke with him this morning. He still refuses to believe the Persians are that close. Says history will bend to his will. A fascinating sense of confidence, given the circumstances.
The voice lingers, somewhere between a chuckle and a sigh. Then, from behind the sphere, a man steps into view. He looks about 60, serene and warm, with a full white beard and mustache, fluffy white hair, and light blue eyes that sparkle behind round glasses. He wears a dark green velvet coat, embroidered with gold, a richly detailed waistcoat, and a high-collared shirt with a silk cravat. His gloved hands rest gently on an old map spread across the wooden counter. Candlelight reflects in his lenses and in the gentle folds of his expression. Something between a scholar, a guide, and perhaps about Santa Claus. He nods to you like someone greeting an old friend who's finally come home.
Don't be alarmed by the look.
He says with an amused shrug.
I don't really have a fixed appearance in your world. So I borrowed one. Something familiar to your imagination. Someone whose face feels like a memory you never made, but always wanted to return to.
His eyes narrow slightly as he studies you. But there is no judgment, only recognition.
You've had a heavy day, haven't you? Shoulders tight, breathing a bit shallow, thoughts looping louder than you want them to. It builds slowly, that kind of weight, until even stillness feels noisy.
He steps around the counter and leans gently against it.
But the good news is, that's the perfect kind of payment.
His hand gestures to a tray that wasn't there a moment ago.
Here, the currency isn't coins or credit. It's everything you're already carrying. Stress, restlessness, all that buzzing tension you never asked for. If you're ready to part with it, I have something for you.
You take a step forward. The light in the shop grows a little warmer. Time slows, or maybe it simply stretches. You feel your shoulders loosen, your breath deepen. On the wooden counter floats a single golden ticket. Rectangular, crisp, and finely textured. Its surface catching the candlelight like breast sunlight. The edges are perforated, as if torn from a roll, and a subtle shimmer pulses along its frame.
If you're willing, take the ticket. That will be the trade.
You reach for it. The parchment is surprisingly warm. As you hold it in your hands, the seal fades into letters. Not inked, not printed, but revealed, as if they'd always been there, waiting for permission to be seen. Journey number. At the center of the ticket, a silver scratch-off panel waits, untouched, quietly gleaming, as if guarding whatever truth lies beneath. You glance at the seller. He nods once. You rub the foil gently with your thumb, and slowly, almost reluctantly, a number appears beneath the surface. 42. His eyes light up with recognition, with affection, with the quiet thrill of something meaningful aligning.
42.
He says with a slow smile.
That's a good one. A very good one. A city on the edge of time, where silence tried to hold back steam and sails, where history waited just one breath too long.
He reaches beneath the counter and retrieves something small, metallic, humming faintly with a pulse of its own. He places it carefully in your hand.
Your chronotron. It doesn't take you back the way people think of time travel. It takes you into time, into memory, into stillness that once trembled.
The golden sphere behind him folds inward and fades, as though never there. The light in the shop returns to its quiet glow, and then you hear the sound of a latch, old, soft, deliberate.
The door behind you opens again.
The seller says gently.
But now, it is no longer a shop door. It leads elsewhere.
You turn. Beyond the threshold, a shimmer, a breath, the suggestion of space expanding.
You may go now.
He says, voice quieter now.
The journey is ready. You're safe. Like a passing thought to those you'll meet. They may see you, even speak with you, but they won't remember. I'll be here, crafting the next relaxing journey.
You step forward, and the dream begins. The air greets you with a breath of mist and charcoal. You are standing on the edge of a wooden bridge just before sunrise, and all of Edo stretches before you like a sleeping giant, ancient and alive. This is Japan, and the year is 1853. You are in Edo, a city that would one day be called Tokyo, but today is the beating heart of the Tokugawa shogunate, a city of order, ritual, and quiet precision. The surface beneath your feet is smooth wood, worn down by thousands of footsteps over generations. The Ryogoku Bridge arches gently over the Sumida River, whose waters carry fishing boats, market rafts, and the occasional crane drifting close to the surface. You feel the subtle vibration of the city waking up, like a breath being drawn before the day begins. The air is filled with soft scents, steamed rice from a cookhouse nearby, cedar from the temple to your left, and the sharp, metallic tang of river fog drifting inland. To your right, a woman kneels at a basin, rinsing sweet potatoes in cold well water. The well is fed by a complex network of wooden aqueducts, carved and channeled from the mountains into the city. A quiet marvel of Edo engineering. Everything here flows. Water, time, labor, without rush. A bell chimes from the direction of Sensoji Temple. Not an alarm, just a breath. A reminder that the day, like all days, begins with intention. You follow a gently curving road through the Asakusa district. Merchants are just beginning to unroll bamboo blinds, exposing shelves lined with porcelain cups, inkstones, and folded bolts of indigo-dyed silk. A group of boys chases each other past a tofu seller's stand. The wheels of a wooden cart creak behind them, loaded with freshly baked rice crackers wrapped in crisp paper. You pass a kombu shop, where sheets of dried seaweed hang like scrolls. A small girl carefully brushes one with a fine layer of vinegar to enhance its preservation. Part science, part tradition. Edo is a city of systems. Quiet, efficient, handmade. There is no electricity here, no engines. And yet, things move. Messages are carried by the Hakiaku runners trained for speed and endurance, who pass sealed letters through a relay of inns and checkpoints from Kyoto to Edo. Food is preserved with pickling, smoking, and fermentation, not as an aesthetic, but as a way of life. Nothing is wasted. Everything is purposeful. Even the shoes, woven straw sandals tied around the ankle with twisted fiber, light enough to walk 50 kilometers without daring. You hear the faint pat-pat of one such runner passing behind you. His breath steady, his steps deliberate. The city is enormous. Over 1 million people live here, making it one of the largest cities in the world at the time. And yet, it is quiet. There are no carriages rattling, no shouting. Even the market criers sing their prices in melodic tones, more like lullabies than sales pitches. You stop near a small garden, nestled behind a lacquered gate. Inside, a man in robes tends to a bonsai pine, trimming, shaping, breathing with it. He glances at you only briefly, then returns to his task, each cut a meditation. The sound of water gurgles from a shishiodoshi, a bamboo fountain that fills, dips, and knocks softly against the stone, used not only to scare away deer, but to mark the slow passage of time. Across the street, a blacksmith's shop is opening for the day. The furnace is already hot, embers glowing as a father and son begin to work a sheet of iron, not for weapons, but for farming tools. You watch the rhythmic motion of the bellows, the careful pour of molten metal into molds carved from wood and ash. Nearby, a storyteller begins to set up his small stage. Painted screens, shadow puppets, and a folding stool. Later, he will tell tales of mythical foxes, traveling monks, and falling empires. But not yet. The world still holds its breath. You turn toward the harbor. The smell changes, saltier, cooler. There's smoke, but not from charcoal. And then you see them, far off, past the wooden piers and fishing huts. 4 black ships, anchored at the edge of the bay, motionless, watching. Unlike anything the people of Edo have seen before, they're not Chinese, not Dutch, not from any port familiar to the limited trade permitted through Nagasaki, Japan's only gateway to the outside world for over 200 years. No, these are American ships, steam-powered, iron-ribbed, with mounted guns in full view. Their smokestacks puff strange clouds into the sky, blackening the horizon in a slow, quiet thread. Japan has lived in isolation since the early 1600s, under the policy of Sakoku, closed country. Foreigners were kept out. Japanese citizens were forbidden to leave. Only the Dutch and Chinese were permitted limited contact, carefully monitored. But now, the outside world has grown louder, hungrier. And these ships, these Kurofune, or black ships, have arrived to knock on the door that has long remained shut. Inside the city, no alarm sounds, but people have noticed. You hear it in the way voices lower, in glances exchanged between strangers. The stillness before a storm is not always full of wind. Sometimes it's just too quiet. A child stops playing and stares at the ships. A dog growls once, then goes silent. An old woman clutches her prayer beads tighter. You feel the chronotron in your pocket grow warm. The ticket number glows faintly with golden light. You are not here to change anything, not to warn or alter or interfere. You are here to witness, to remember the moment just before the current shifts. The edge of an old world, about to meet the new. And for now, the city still breathes, still moves, still dreams. The chronotron in your pocket pulses again, but this time, not in warning. This time, it slows, as if inviting you not forward, but slightly back. Back into the steady rhythm of a city still unaware. Not to change it, not to warn, just to feel it. To walk its streets before the ripple began, before the horizon grew teeth, before the silence carried weight. You are about to return, for a while, to a morning that still breathes like any other. You walk deeper into the heart of Edo, where the city unfolds like a scroll, not read in haste, but slowly, with reverence. The streets wind and bend like rivers, flowing with fabric, voices, and footsteps. Everything here moves, but never rushes. A boy runs past you with a folded letter tucked in his belt, his bare feet thudding softly against the packed earth. He is a courier, a small part of a vast system. The Hikyaku network, moving messages across the country in a matter of days. He is one runner in a relay, part muscle, part memory, part map. To your left, a printmaker unfurls a fresh woodblock print. The image shows a crashing wave, a solitary mountain, and a fisherman clinging to his boat. Bold curves and indigo tones, unmistakably ukiyo-e, pictures of the floating world. The artist smiles as you glance at the image.
It's not about realism.
He says softly.
It's about emotion caught in silence.
Nearby, a small tea house opens its shutters. The paper panels slide with a soft hiss, revealing a woman arranging cups on a red lacquer tray. You sit without needing to ask. She bows wordlessly, pours matcha into a ceramic bowl, and hands it to you with both palms. The bowl is warm. The tea is thick, earthy, slightly bitter, like moss after rain. You drink slowly, letting it coat your mouth, letting it still your thoughts. Around you, Edo breathes. Above the rooftops, white cranes drift across a cloudless sky. Beneath your feet, the ground hums with movement. Traders hauling miso barrels, tailors stitching sleeves by lantern light. A samurai in full formal attire crossing the street with a child on his shoulders. The glass system in Sedo is rigid, but elegant in its logic. Samurai on top, administrators, warriors, poets, then farmers, artisans, and merchants. Yet in the city, those lines are softening. Wealth and knowledge flowing upward, downward, sideways. You pass a street school, a terakoya run by a retired monk. Children recite poetry from bamboo tablets, practicing their kana script with brush and ink. They giggle softly when one misspells.
Autumn.
Learning here is modest, quiet, but real. At the corner, an elderly woman with white hair tends to a garden of medicinal herbs. Mugwort, ginger, shiso. Her fingers move without hesitation. Each leaf has a purpose. Each stem, a story.
I use this.
She says, holding up a root.
When my son was sick from the rains 3 summers ago, it calms the lungs, reminds the body how to breathe.
You thank her with a nod. Further along, you hear the crack of wooden swords. Students training in a dojo under the sharp eyes of a kendo master. Sweat darkens their sleeves, but their movements are graceful, restrained. Discipline here is not about domination. It is about alignment. In a narrow alley, 2 women bend over steaming vats of dye. Aizome, the deep indigo that Edo is famous for. They dip and fold fabric with practiced hands, pulling it out to dry in rhythmic waves. The scent is sharp, almost sweet, like wet stone and crushed grass. Everywhere you look, you see intention. Lanterns are trimmed to exact height. Gates are swept. Shrines are whispered to. Even the stray cats move with ceremony. You cross into Nihonbashi, the commercial center of the city. Stalls stretch in long rows beneath stretched awnings. Men shout prices in a chant-like rhythm.
Pickled plum, fresh soba, lotus root still cold from the stream.
You pause at a stand selling wooden abacuses, ink wells, and small brass mirrors. The merchant raises an eyebrow at your interest.
These aren't trinkets.
He says,
These are tools. The world only turns because someone counts the beans, writes the ledgers, polishes the truth.
He laughs at his own words, wraps the mirror in cloth, and moves on. Evening draws nearer now, and the shadows begin to lengthen. At a small shrine nestled beneath the persimmon tree, a man kneels. He lights incense, bows twice, claps once. He whispers something, too low to hear. Then, he looks up. You follow his gaze, out past the rooftops, past the merchants and temples, out to the bay. The ships are still there, their silhouettes darker now, more certain. They do not move, but they are waiting. A woman nearby tightens the sash of her kimono.
Storm's not in the sky.
She says softly.
It's in the water.
You feel it too? Not fear, not yet, but an unease, quiet and slow moving, like the shift of pressure before a monsoon. The chronotron at your side pulses gently. The number 42 glows faintly once more. And as the city prepares for the evening, lanterns flickering to life, children called inside, shutters closed, you stand still, listening to the sound of a world just before the turning. The sun slips lower behind the hills, turning the rooftops of Edo to gold. The lanterns flicker to life one by one, like cautious stars testing the darkness. You feel it before you hear it. A weight in the air, a pull behind your navel, as though gravity has decided to reach sideways, not down. The chronotron hums against your hip, soft at first, then rising gently, like a bell struck underwater. You hold it in your hand. Its surface ripples like heat. And then, time begins to fold. Not backward, not forward, inward. Your surroundings begin to shimmer, not dissolve, but drift. The city remains, but the light thickens. The people blur into silhouettes. The sounds stretch, sandals dragging, paper rustling, a dog barking far away, until they blend into a low, soft drone. And suddenly, you're on the harbor edge. You know it, but the path here was not walked. You stand among others now, officials, samurai, dock workers. Their faces alert but composed, expressions drawn tight in masks of practiced stillness. Across the water, just beyond the reach of Edo's breath, the ships now loom larger. 4 black vessels, iron-ribbed, steam-powered, guns bristling along the sides like the quills of a defensive animal. And now they move, not fast, not aggressive, just enough to show that they can. Smoke rolls from their stacks in slow, deliberate columns, trailing across the bay like ink in water. You smell it now, coal and salt, and something unfamiliar, industrial. Not the scent of Edo, something from elsewhere. People shift around you. A child grips her mother's sleeve. A samurai presses his palm lightly to the hilt of his sword, not to draw it, just to feel it there. Then, a small boat detaches from one of the American ships, a rowboat, gliding silently toward the shore. Inside, a group of men in dark uniforms, boots shining, hats firm. One of them holds a sealed letter. They row without urgency. They know they will not be stopped. Whispers ripple through the crowd.
Who are they? Why now? Why here?
The shogunate had long resisted the West, not from fear, but from a deep belief in sovereignty, in internal balance. For over 2 centuries, the island had turned inward, perfecting systems of craft, honor, and quiet authority. Now, foreign ambition arrives with cannons and parchment. The rowboat touches shore. The Americans step out, boots crunching against the rocks. No words are spoken, just stares, long, quiet stares. You watch as one of the men, the one with the letter, then steps forward. He bows stiffly, then extends the envelope. A translator from Edo steps forward. His hands tremble, but only slightly. He receives the document with a bow deeper than the Americans. Behind you, the crowd shifts again. But no one shouts, no one runs. Instead, something deeper happens, something older. A pause, as if the city, the land itself, is holding its breath. You close your eyes. For a moment, it feels as though the wind has stopped. The water smooths. The lanterns flicker once, then burn steady. And then, something inside you begins to understand. Not with language, not with reason, but with sensation. This is the sound of an era ending, the rustle before the turning of a page. You open your eyes. The letter is gone now, taken by officials, escorted away for deliberation. The Americans return to their rowboat. They do not speak. They do not need to. The message has been delivered. And you, visitor, witness, quiet observer, have seen the hinge. The moment between was and will be. The chronotron pulses again. The harbor fades, not disappears, but dissolves, like steam rising from lacquered wood. You hear the faint sound of temple bells, the low whisper of leaves in the wind, and you realize you are no longer standing at the harbor. You are walking back through the city. Not the same as before. Never again the same. The streets are quieter now. The sun has folded itself into the horizon, leaving only a soft afterglow pressed against the clouds like a farewell note. Lanterns sway gently from wooden posts, their paper shells glowing in tones of amber and rose. The wind carries the scent of tea leaves, wood smoke, and warm stone. You walk slowly. The city no longer feels vast, not because it's smaller, but because you've entered its rhythm. It breathes with you now. Each step is a page turned, each breath a brush stroke. You pass through a garden where someone has just raked gravel into gentle concentric waves. No one speaks. Even the koi in the pond move with reverence. You sit beneath a cherry tree, not in bloom, but full of promise. Its branches stretch above like open hands, silhouetted against the fading sky. A woman nearby plucks the strings of a koto, slow, almost absent-minded. The notes drift through the air like moths. You listen. The city seems unchanged to the eye, but you know better. Beneath the rooftops and rituals, something has begun to shift, like the first drop of water on dry earth. Tomorrow, there will be conversation, meetings behind sliding doors, scrolls opened, eyes narrowed. Some will resist, others will adapt. But tonight, it is enough to have seen it begin. The chronotron hums once more. You remove it from your pocket and rest it in your palm. It no longer pulses. It simply glows. Like it, you are no longer traveling. You are returning. At the edge of a small temple garden, a bell chimes. A monk lights a final stick of incense, placing it gently on the stone altar. You watch the smoke rise, spiraling upward, dissolving into the sky. The fragrance is grounding, sandalwood with a faint hint of citrus. It doesn't awaken you, it settles you. You feel your body beginning to exhale, not in effort, but in release. You find yourself once again beside a shallow pool. The water is still, reflecting the faint stars now appearing overhead. You kneel, touch the surface. It is cool, smooth, whole. A voice echoes softly. The cellars, not near, not far.
The moment has passed, but the stillness remains. Rest easy, traveler. You were never lost, only waiting to remember.
You close your eyes. Your breath slows. And as the dream begins to dissolve, a final image lingers. A lantern floating gently down certain. It's silence, deep. Thank you for walking with us through the quiet streets of Edo, for listening, for breathing, for remembering. When you wake, you may not recall every detail, but something will stay with you. The softness, the slowness, the calm that comes just after the tide turns. And if one night you find your thoughts growing heavy again, you know where to go. The seller of adventures is always there, waiting, watching, with another ticket.